What do you want to do today?
I want a garden tour today.
Let's do it.
In my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady. Oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home far away.
Hey y'all, welcome to Stiver's Homestead. I'm Jen,
And I'm Zach.
and Wyatt and Raylan are inside fighting the heat.
Which thankfully it's not too bad today. It's
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going through a blackberry winter or what we might be going through, but the temperatures are pretty comfortable this week. We're about 75 today. I know a lot of people are either pouring down rain or fighting some extreme heat, but here in Kentucky, again, it's awesome. Like
Yep.
we keep telling y'all to come.
Alright, so let's get started.
Okay, so today we are going to show you a few things. Some are Xena controlled, others are weather controlled, and then the third would just be flat out awesome. So that's what you're going to kind of see today. The garden actually is a little bit more empty than it has been in past garden tours because winter crops are basically out, and it's time to add in more summer crops. So let's go ahead and straight look at it. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the pallet trellis with the peas. They are no more. So the peas ran their life course here. I had mentioned before to you all that I didn't get that chicken wire on there fast enough for all of them to take off. Only one did, and it did good, but that was a lesson learned. Next year, get that chicken wire on it immediately and we shouldn't have any issues. But verdict of pallet trellis, transferring peas, and container gardening peas, all good. Literally just the chicken wire messed everything up that I didn't put it on there soon enough. So check that one off. So we're good to go there.
We harvested all the peas and ate them, and they were really, really good. So definitely gonna plant more for the fall, and we're gonna do more of them this time. We weren't sure about them this time, so we only did a very small amount, but for the fall, we're gonna do a whole lot more.
Right, right. So one set of pallet trellises is empty. The other set of pallet trellises rocking. So look right here. These are some of our cucumbers. They are climbing right up, and as you can see, we have the chicken wire on it. What we got? Oh, we got another little surprise. Check it out. Woo, look at there. Ah, Mr. Cucumber. Which ones are these? It's that.
Alpha.
Be it Alpha. All right. I think we have another one over there that has a Be it Alpha. The Americanas. Isn't that what you call them, babe?
Nope.
They don't have anything yet, which I find very funny. But maybe they're just a little bit slower. But we tied them up just so they can learn to train up this pallet trellis. But they are doing really, really good. Where did that guy go? I want to see him again. There he is. We got more? All right, so we have the two pallet trellises. Oh yeah, not because we always show you everything. If you saw our last week garden tour, this guy, he was just getting ate alive by ants, but he was the only one, so they were like set on here. However, we've neem oil everything just repetitively, but I think we might have caught him a little too late. However, I'll let it go because we have 6 cucumbers that are on these two pallet trellises. And if this is the only guy that goes down because of that and everything else stays healthy, as you can see on our plants, there is not anything eating at all. So one guy down, he sacrificed for everybody else, so he did a very good job. So you said you had something over there, babe? More cucumbers. Cucumbers growing like crazy. So let's see this one out.
Enjoy.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Looking good. Is that one? Yep, yeah.
Big alpha.
I don't know, y'all. That's a pretty good cucumber so far in my book. But we got all three here and they're just climbing up real nice. On to the bed that's getting more and more empty every day. What we got, babe?
So we harvested all the radishes. They just didn't do too well because it got too hot too quick and I was too late planting them. So we harvested them. The only thing left in this bed is the broccoli, which we are actually gonna harvest either tonight or tomorrow night. I think we're gonna, there's a couple heads on them that we can eat. We actually ate one last night and it was delicious.
We harvested that guy last night.
Yeah, and we're gonna eat the leaves too. We're gonna pick all these leaves off and eat them. And then this bed will be empty and we're gonna put some other stuff in there, but we'll probably show you what that is on next week's garden tour.
Yeah, so that bed, we really enjoyed it. We can't wait to get that one back going in the fall. And we're really trying to figure out how we want to do everything. But we know we want to get more crops in here just because we have the open space, so you might as well, right? But moving on to some flourishing, that'd be the right way to say it, right?
Flourishing.
Flourishing, there we go. Y'all, I struggle with that, but whatever, it's fine. Y'all know what I mean. Now, we going off on the garden tour early showing you the good beds. So babe, why don't you walk them through there?
All right, so we've got the peppers. These are chocolate bell peppers and they're doing great. They've also gotten the neem oil and nothing is eating on them. And they're just some really happy little guys. And this one is huge. This one's a Jimmy Nardello. And he is just growing right up there, living his best life. And then all these tomato plants, look how big they are. They are huge.
They're almost to the top of all the tobacco sticks already, y'all.
And a lot of them have their first little tomato fruits on them.
One thing I did want to mention with these, we are having seen some bottom, what's it called? Flower bottom drop? Blossom drop. So some of that you can't help. It's just gonna be part of your weather that you have going on. All the nutrients, everything's good. Sometimes though, when you get those first blossoms, if you see that they are drying up or they're falling off, a couple different things that are coming from that. Probably the main reason is just your weather. Your weather is dropping and rising in humidity way too much, and if it's too hot of humidity, it can make those first ones drop off. Or secondly, rusty. Secondly, it could be watering. If they're not getting enough water, it can have those flowers dry off. And I might have already said lastly, but lastly, it could be if you're adding too much fertilizer to your beds, it could be making them grow too fast, which is a thing. If you make them grow too fast and they're all blossoming at the same time, they're all fighting for that water. So those two kind of coexist together with the lack of watering and the fertilization. So just watch it. If you have that, it's really not that big of a deal, at least in my opinion. Some people are going to differ on that. But normally once you harvest the first fruit, you're going to be fine. They're going to get back in their pecking order and be okay after that. But just a couple have that falling off, and it'll be fine after that. But here's some of the actual tomatoes that we have. You want to show them some right there?
So this guy is huge. He's almost to the top of the stake. He's doing well. He's got a nice strong stalk. He's all pruned up. Suckers are off for the most part. There might be one or two in there. And like you can see here, it's got his first little tomato fruit coming off.
Pretty sure this is a white cherry.
And there's some right there. I think that's the pink ox heart. And they pretty much all have at least one or two. So they're all decently healthy. You know, we've had a lot of rain, but I think they've recovered for the most part. And it shouldn't be too long before we start getting some tomatoes.
This guy needs to be tied up. He's starting to fall over a little bit. I tell you, we can't keep up with how fast they're growing. They're rocking and rolling. This is the only one that it has any more leaf curl are these, and they are the brandywines. Isn't that what I call them? That's what they are. But they're not, they don't look very stressed. It's just a little bit of leaf curl, but they're okay. So the only other thing in here is the comfrey, and it's doing really well. But this bed, like we show you all every week, is just absolutely taking off. It's full of green, the garden is green, everything is just green and popping, and it's absolutely fantastic. I hope you all have the same thing going on where you all are as well. So now for the Bonnie's Best bed. If you've been following along, you know this has been our most struggling tomato bed, and we've flopped it down to the variety being a prone to, I don't even know which one to call it, prone to disease, I guess, easily. And we've just really been fighting it to try to get them to look like the other bed. So they're all, I would say 95% are all healthy and good to go. They're just a little bit behind the other bed because they had the struggles at the beginning. But some of the things that we did to try to save these bad boys. First off, besides the fish minerals being just, I'd give my left pinky finger for that stuff. That stuff is amazing and does wonders for all your plants. If you don't have that, or if you missed our video when we did that, it'll be in our Amazon affiliate link if you want to go and get some for yourself. But we've been feeding that to our beds for the past 2 weeks now. We've done it twice, so once, I got all kind of crazy. We've done it twice in 2 weeks because you do it about every 7 to 10 days, and it really feeds them well. But it'll be in the Amazon link below if you want to get you some yourself. It is amazing stuff. It really helps you when the weather is out of control, kind of like how it is here. But let's look at some of these Bonnie's Best because I want you all to see what we did, and I'll explain a little bit more of that out. Okay, so look at this guy. I've done so much pruning, Jen and I both, on this bed that it's absolutely insane. But you can see we no longer have a tomato that is completely curled up and dying. And if you look at our stock, you'll have a pretty good resemblance of what we did. So if you can tell, right here we have pruned off. That was the main stock of this tomato plant. This right here is a sucker. So this is a sucker that has grown up and became our main stock. Now there's so many things that you can do with these suckers. If you don't know, you can actually cut off a sucker and treat it like a slit and actually have it grow itself into a whole new tomato plant. So it's what we did, but we didn't cut it off. We let it just grow from the stock. Now we got a little crooked wild boy going on here, but that's okay. We're tying him up to this tobacco stick, and we now have us a brand new tomato plant that is gonna do well. It's not as big as those, but it'll catch up from there. So we did that with every single one of these Bonnie's Best plants. Well, not all of them. Some didn't struggle and they actually made it, but most all of them did. So this sucker is now healthy. It was in the right environment to grow, unlike when we planted them the first time. So we now have healthy Bonnie's Best tomato plants. So if you're sitting there and you're like, this tomato plant is just dying, it's not gonna make it, check out them suckers. Don't immediately cut them off. Suckers can be your friends and can save your tomato plant. And as you can see, we're starting to get buds up here. And we gonna have us tomatoes in no time with these bad boys, but I'm so happy to not see any of the leaf curl. So to get in a little bit more detail, because I feel like I kind of rushed through that. We left this on until this sucker became at least halfway decent of a plant. We didn't want it to be real small like it was right there. We waited till it had a decent enough stock, and then that's when we started pruning. So we pruned off all these lower leaves that were completely curled up and just let this guy create his new ones. And now he's doing so daggone well. So I hope that helps somebody that's going through the same thing. It was really just a trial and error. Jen and I looked at each other and was like, that sucker looks good. I was like, well, you know, it turns into a different, whole new tomato plant if you allow it to. So why not try it? It's better than pulling it up, right? And thankfully, it looks like it actually worked out really well. So I'm very happy that we did that.
So we got more cucumber plants in the same bed that are coming up this cattle panel trellis. And this guy right here gets the award for the biggest cucumber yet. So we're gonna let him go a little bit longer and then we're gonna pick it. And that'll be the first cucumber of the year for us in Kentucky. I know a lot of you all have already harvested so much stuff, even tomatoes, cucumbers, all kinds of stuff, but we're a little bit late in the game in Kentucky. Well, I wouldn't say late, but we're not as early as the more southern states. So Here in a little bit though, we'll be caught up with y'all in no time.
Yeah, so we have those 2 cucumbers that are going up that cattle panel trellis, and then we have 2 more that are coming up over here. And they also have a cucumber showing, so you can see right there. And that guy, you can tell he got ate a little, but I think the neem oil has stopped it. We need to tie him up and start training, but he also has cucumbers going on there. Here's another example of one of the Bonnie's Best. I just got to show him because I'm super proud of him. Right here, this knot, that's where the main stalk went that way, and then this was a sucker. So we just cut it off, and now look at him. Oh, there's another sucker. Looks like we need to do a little bit more pruning. Those things pop up on you out of nowhere, don't they? But at least in this case, it was a good reason. Shoo. All right, Bonnie's Best, we got you.
So this was another winter crop bed. We had so many different lettuces and all kinds of stuff in here that we harvested and ate most of it. The goats got some and they loved it. It just got a little bit too bitter once it started bolting. But we do have a few things left in this bed, and that's the Chinese red noodle beans, which are gonna be so cool. It's our first time and we are really excited about them. They're all doing pretty well. So they're gonna grow right up that trellis. And then we also have a few onions left that aren't quite ready yet, but they won't be in here too much longer before we harvest them. We have a few random okra plants that we direct sowed. And they've come up and now they're just awkwardly placed in here, but we're gonna work around those guys and make sure they have plenty of room because they take up a lot of space. And then 1 random pepper. This bed is just kind of crazy. It was our first bed that we did with the winter crops and all that, so everything got kind of hodgepodged.
And that's a chocolate bell pepper.
Yeah, another chocolate bell.
Show them that thing that's doing really well over there.
And these are my loofah gourds. They're getting huge and they're starting to attach to the trellis and they're gonna grow right up there. If you don't know what loofah gourds are, you should look them up because they're awesome. They're the things that you use in the bath. So you have to, it's a process. It's a really long process. They have to grow, you have to pick them, they have to dry, you gotta shell them, get all the seeds out, and then they'll turn into the actual loofahs that you use in the shower or the bath. So I'm really excited about those. I'm hoping I get quite a few. I know it won't be till late harvest, but hopefully I can get quite a few that we can give away to some family maybe for Christmas. So they're doing well. And
didn't you say that those, we actually have to pick them when they're not completely ready to be loofah gourds?
Yeah.
Because we just get too cold too quick, so we have to pull them when they're still a little bit green and then let them finish inside.
It's a pretty complicated process, but hopefully we can figure it out.
Yeah, so if you're in more of the southern area where it stays warmer longer, you're gonna be good to go to just probably let them go to loofah, right?
Yeah.
But if you're anywhere from us and up, which we're in Kentucky, if you aren't familiar, you're gonna have to probably pick them in October and they're not gonna be ready, but let them finish out in your house or whatever.
There you go.
My favorite bed, which I feel like I say that about all of them, me and Jim both do, but this one's mine, the next one's gonna be her favorite, even though we love all of our children equally, right? But this is our pepper bed. We've never been too amazing at growing peppers, to be honest with you all. I don't know if it's just conditioning hasn't been right or whatever it is. This is our first time using them in raised beds and having actually some super soil that we bought and made and not just using native soil. And I'm super happy. They started slow, but they are really picking up steam now, and I'm gonna give a lot of that credit to the fish oil. So some of the stuff we have in here is what you've already seen, like the Jimmy Nardellos, the chocolate bells, but we also have the Tabascos, jalapenos. We didn't get to, I don't think we really got anything hotter than a jalapeno in here. We started some habaneros, but to be honest with you, it's more of a fun thing for us to grow something super hot. So we wanted to actually use things that we're gonna eat this year. So we stayed away from anything hotter than a jalapeno. We're just not big fans. But a lot of green bell peppers in here. Wyatt absolutely loves green bell peppers. It's his favorite vegetable by far. But they were actually being ate up a little bit as well by some bugs, and they are all healed up now and taken care of, and we put it all in that neem oil. It was absolutely amazing. But this bed has really shown some growth. Can I get a little bottom view of how big they are? So we're pretty happy there ain't one struggling up in this bed, just besides maybe being a little bit shorter than the others, but they're doing awesome.
All right, so here's the tea garden. Y'all watch me start this bed. You watch me talk about it, get excited about it, and it is really coming to life now. So all the chamomile is so furry and awesome. I love my chamomile. My licorice basil down there in the corner is doing awesome. My marigolds are starting to bloom. They'll be bloomed here soon. They're beautiful. We've got lemon balm over here, which is the first time for me. I'm pretty excited about that. All my dandelions are rocking. We've got lemon mint over here and some more basil. And then my fenugreek, which I've never grown before. Not really sure about that. Maybe if y'all have any tips about fenugreek, I can figure out why it's a little yellow. I don't know. Let me know if you got any ideas. And then the hyssop. And then my lavender is still tiny but mighty.
It's going though, isn't it? I mean, it just keeps growing. A little bit weed out there. But yeah, I mean, when you first planted that, it was so tiny, but at least it's going. Just going a little bit slower.
Yep. And then we've got oregano down here, which is doing awesome in these little grow bags. My sage.
Look how pretty that is.
I know, it's beautiful. And my thyme. And then random citronella plant that doesn't really belong in this area, but it's here. And then I've got some more herbs over here. I've got all my basil that I just harvested last night, and I've been dehydrating overnight, so that's drying out. Then we're gonna dry some more of that, and then some mint I did the same with. So we're harvesting all kinds of basil and mint around here, and cilantro, but I'm gonna have to plant some more cilantro. And all my herbs are doing awesome. I love herbs.
Now moving right along to the beet and bush bean bed. So we have our bush beans here and here.
And you know, don't know it, bush beans and beets are really good companions. So that's why we have them together in this bed.
And it seems to be working really well. We didn't have the greatest germination rate out of our bush beans, but we got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 bush bean plants to come up out of, I would say, probably 10 to 12 that we planted. As you can tell, the gaps there and down there. But they're all growing really strong and looking great. But yeah, I'm super pumped about these beets. Every day I'm literally like, they're gonna start going down. They ain't gonna make it. But they are doing really well. It actually goes from like the best to getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And honestly, I think part of it is this actually high level on this wood, because all of these get shade much sooner than everything down there. I don't know, maybe it helps keep the temperature down in there, but they look really good. Someone had a very good point that these are also can be treated kind of like you would Swiss chard. So you can actually cut up or take off the bottom plants, leaves, and you can use those in smoothies, or you can actually even add them to really anything you want. They're edible, obviously. So, but treat them like you would Swiss chard, and that's actually going to help make the plant grow even stronger. So any of them that are a little weak and laying down, we're actually clipping off and using those in smoothies. So that's kind of cool. So that's all of the raised beds. Now where are you taking us?
All right, so we're going to the squash, zucchini, pumpkins, and sunflowers.
All the things. All right, walk them through it. Show all that bad boy.
Y'all saw all of our squash and zucchini struggle at the beginning because this is not the greatest soil. They were yellow, they were wilting, they had transplant shock. We thought honestly they were all gonna die, which would be a first for us because we've never failed at squash and zucchini. But the fish oil and the neem brought them back to life, and now they're all thriving. They're getting huge. We're starting to get some zucchini and some squash growing. So that's what all that is. That's all squash and zucchini.
So this is butternut squash. Just if you're familiar with that, that's a little bit different than just your normal squash, but it all looks really good still there. Oh, you forgot to show them something.
What? Oh, my chocolate mint. So I always forget to show you all this because it should be over there in my tea bed, but it's holding down this weed tarp where it's at. So that's just gonna live there for now, and hopefully I can remember. But if you have not tried chocolate mint, do so, because it is amazing and you will not regret it. It's so good.
It does smell absolutely amazing. And over here you can get a little bit closer look at all of the zucchini plants. I mean, they are very large and in charge and doing just fine. I know a lot of people have been having some issues with pollination with their zucchini and squash. I've been seeing that all over social media. You can hand pollinate it, or when we get bees, we shouldn't have an issue when they're right there.
We have out here though, we have so many bees and butterflies, and we have so much stuff. We don't ever really have to worry about pollination because it just happens naturally.
Yeah, we're very lucky out here. And we also got some pole beans over here on the fence. Y'all hear the goats? So this is taking right off on that fence. It's at the top, and now I'm interested to see if he's gonna start going over, which is the plan. And then we got another one there, and then some more over there. Where you at?
I've got Velvet Clean sunflowers, and some purple cone flowers, and some Autumn Beauty sunflowers. So they're all coming up along the back line. Those are gonna be really pretty. And then
I was just gonna say, because a lot of people, you know, whenever you plant sunflowers, you gotta watch out for shade because they're very tall. Our morning sun comes over in that corner right there. So the sunflowers would be here. So the morning sun comes over there and it sets in front of our house. So we put them in a spot to where we wouldn't have to deal with them casting too much of a shade. Sorry, go ahead.
all right. So we have our pumpkins, which we have the Jack B. Little pumpkins, which are those little baby pumpkins that kids like to paint and carve out. So those are going to be perfect for them. This is their little pumpkin patch. And then we have our Cherokee Tans, which most of you are familiar with the collaboration from Deep South Homestead and Crazy Daisies. So we're growing those from seed from them, thankfully.
Those?
Yeah.
Xena?
Xena, the new puppy, apparently really loves pumpkins.
And weed tarp.
Yeah, and weed tarp. So she got in here. We're gonna give you a whole farm tour, but we've done a lot to be ready for her and get her acquainted in her own spot so that we don't have any garden issues. We've worked extremely hard the past few days, so in the next few days we're gonna give you the whole farm tour with the animals and where everybody lives and where everybody stays and hangs out, and you'll see where she's now at. So she's no longer in the backyard. She was only here in the back for about a day and a half just because we weren't really ready yet. It was such a surprise. And while she was in here, she did quite a few things to the plants, but nothing was completely destructed, so that's good.
Let's show them that the Cherokees are still living.
Yeah,
they're still making it.
Out of everything that Xena picked to try to mutilate, the Cherokee Tans were one. That was her favorite, which was scary because they're rare.
It's like the dog found out that these are rare and we're actually trying to save these seeds, and so we can give more out, and boom.
Yeah, but they
right
lived.
to it.
They
yep.
survived, so now they're good to go.
You can see how the straw is not on that line of tarp, and that's because she got a hold of it and just started ripping the fire out of it, but thankfully everything's safe, nothing died. It's just a little chaos.
Yep, so that's pumpkin patch and squash and zucchini. I love this little area. It's gonna be really beautiful.
It really is. It's gonna be one awesome little area right there. This is some of the plants that are gonna be going in our winter crop bed. These are still some tomatoes. As you can see here, it's ones that we started and planted but didn't have room for and didn't sell. So I'm glad we weren't able to sell every single one of them. We just, I don't know, there's probably 7 or 8 there that we're gonna now put back into those winter beds. So that's really cool.
All right, so we've got some more pole beans over here in grow bags that are gonna grow up the fence. They're getting really big. They're doing great. Nothing's eating on them. And then Zach's zinnias.
Look at them zinnias.
Which are beautiful. One of the other first things that Xena did when she got here was come straight to this and start eating the flowers.
David, if you're watching, I about brought her back. It's all fun and games till you start messing with Xenias.
Yeah, but they're good. They're doing really well here. I love them in this little planter. It's one of the first things that people see when they come back here.
Right there at the gate.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, y'all, these aren't the cheapest things in the world, I know. But this was like a water trough that we had just given to us, and we actually used it for the pigs. But the thing is, it's so big and tall that if you're trying to water anything, it almost has to be, or if you're trying to use this to water the animals, it almost has to be buried or in something just because it's so tall. And then once the animals drink it down a little bit, they can't get to it if it's not. So it had just been sitting there collecting water, and we just drilled holes all the way around the sides on the bottom, and then actually under the bottom too. And it turned into a really cool planter. You could spray paint that any color you wanted, and bam, you have a popping flower water trough. So just a thought if you have any laying around that you're not using.
There's the Frankfort petting zoo over there.
Yeah. What's happening, y'all?
Becoming quite the popular petting zoo for folks around here. We'll give you a full tour later this week.
Right now they're super excited. Everybody's pecking on lettuce.
Yeah.
We just threw some in there.
Last but not least are the tire planter beds.
Woohoo!
Celosia is beautiful. It's really a conversation piece. Everybody that comes over here is like, what is that? It's so pretty. So everybody loves that. It's doing great.
It's so cool because you said the nickname was Dragon's Breath?
Yes.
Yeah? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Because it does, I was going to say, because it does look like Dragon's Breath. It's really cool. Like, take a little closer look. And even how it's growing out like that. Looks like he's sticking out his tongue and just, it's really neat.
Yep. And then the lilies are over there.
Yeah. Doing fine, but the blooms are gone.
Yep. And the caladium is doing okay.
Tell them about the caladium.
Yeah. Xena also found that and jumped head first into the tire. So
yeah.
It's a little bit rough, but it'll be fine.
That was with her being here like for 5 minutes.
Yeah. That was the first thing she did. All right, so that wraps up week 4 garden tour.
Already a month into these.
Yeah, things are doing awesome. The things that were struggling are coming back to life, and they're doing great. We're gonna be harvesting soon. Right now it's just the waiting period.
Yeah.
And also the, hoping that the weather doesn't get them and that kind of stuff. But.
Right, because you have all that excitement at the beginning when you're starting your plants, and that's like a daily job.
Yeah.
When you're in the greenhouse, taking care of everything, transplanting things into bigger pots, etc. And then the excitement of planting everything in the outside garden, you're like, yes, we're finally getting all that hard work. We're putting it in the garden. And then you wait.
Yeah.
You sit and you wait until you actually start getting some fruit off your plants. And the unfortunate part is there's so many things that are out of your control with the weather. Some things you just can't do. You can do your best to try to block them and prevent them. And then you start getting a little bit discouraged because like our Bonnie's Best plants, that's like, when we planted that was like our family and friends bed. Because they're just your big, normal red tomatoes. And so we're like, man, we just want this bed to succeed because this is the bed that we want to do some canning. We want to be able to give everybody those big, beautiful red tomatoes that everybody's hoping that they're going to get. And when you start seeing them wilt and they start going down, you start getting discouraged. You're like, oh no, all this hard work and everything's going to die. So if you're sitting there at home and you're looking at your garden, you have things that are doing the same thing, do not get discouraged. There's ways to make your plants come back to health. We did lose a couple. We lost a couple and I just transplanted with a few of the starts that we had. But get creative with your plants. Get creative with them like we did with our suckers and turn them into tomato plants. I don't know if they're gonna be the best harvest that we're ever gonna get on tomato plants, but I sure do know that it's better than pulling that tomato plant out of that bed. Because that's almost like the worst feeling in the world when you pull a dead plant out. So get creative, ask questions. I know a lot of you, I don't even see anything else on Facebook or social media anymore besides garden stuff. So there's plenty of people to ask us. We're happy to help any way we can. Ask just anyone out there. They're gonna be able to help you out and give you some tips and tricks. Don't get discouraged. We're almost there. It's almost time to start harvesting some fruit.
Yeah.
Keep pushing hard. So I hope you all have enjoyed this garden tour. Sorry that it seems like every tour I get on a little bit of a rant. But I hope it's encouragement. I hope it doesn't come off as a rant, it comes off as encouraging because I know we feel all these things that we tell you all. So just keep that in your mind and you'll have a successful garden.
Yeah. And like I said, later this week we're gonna do a farm animal tour, so stay tuned for that. I'm pretty excited about that one.
Yeah.
I love all our animals and I want to show you all and introduce you to even some new things that you haven't seen yet, besides the puppies. So.
Right. Who would have thought there's even another new animal here and we haven't even showed you all yet.
So stay tuned. We can't wait to show you all that.
Before they do that though, they should watch the house tour.
Yeah.
So we did a house tour mainly to show our pole barn style house, but you get to see the land, and that was in January.
Yeah, that was January of this year.
Yeah, so you should watch that video.
Yeah.
If I remember, I'll link it below in the description. If I don't, someone tell me and we'll get it on there. But watch that one because you'll have a good snapshot of what this place looked like, and then you'll be ready for the farm tour.
It's 100% different.
100%.
Yeah.
It is absolutely insane how much we've done. It's June. It's June.
Yeah.
When did that happen? So in basically saying 5 months, because it was the end of January when we started this adventure. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That was wild.
It's exciting.
Hey.
Definitely watch that so you can see our progress.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But until then, I hope y'all have enjoyed this garden tour today with us.
Yep, and we will.
Sorry, I just keep talking.
He does. That's what he does. Y'all, I'm sweating. I love y'all, but I'm hot.
All right, y'all. I'm done talking. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.